Welcome to the Sleepy Underworld, a place where romance blooms, magic sparkles, and timeless fairy tales are reimagined for the dreamers of today. From heart-stirring romances to spellbinding adventures, every story is a soothing escape into a realm of love, wonder, and charm. So curl up, press play, and let us carry you away to the land of dreams. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. We'd love to know in what part of the world you are watching and what is your favorite tip for a good night's sleep. Thank you for watching and enjoy the video. The secret recipe. I remember the day magic crept into my kitchen like a warm summer breeze, though it was the coldest winter Chicago had seen in decades. The wind howled through the gaps in our window frames, and my calloused hands trembled as I sorted through another bundle of forgotten laundry. The sharp scent of lye soap filled my nostrils as I searched the pockets, praying to find enough coins to buy milk for my girls. Our tiny apartment smelled of cabbage and coal smoke, the sense of poverty that no amount of scrubbing could erase. The sheets I was folding belonged to Mrs. Henderson, or so I thought. She hadn't returned for them in months. The cotton was worn thin from years of washing, soft as dove feathers beneath my work-roughened fingers. I shook out the yellowed linens, and something solid thumped against the wooden floor, the sound echoing in our sparse room. A cookbook. Its leather cover was worn smooth as butter, the spine cracked and mended like the hands that now held it. Golden letters flickered in the light filtering through our frosted windows. The secret recipe of hope. The pages rustled as I opened them, releasing the faint scent of vanilla and something else. Something that reminded me of my mother's kitchen in better days. I almost tossed it aside. Hope wouldn't feed my 4 daughters or pay our overdue rent. But something about it called to me, like the memory of my mother's voice singing in her kitchen on Sunday mornings, the aroma of fresh bread mixing with hymns. That night, with barely enough flour to dust a countertop, I followed the simplest recipe in the book. The ingredients list read like poetry. 2 cups of patience, a handful of trust, and enough faith to fill a thimble. Below these fanciful measurements were real ones for a basic loaf of bread. The flour felt different somehow as I measured it, warmer than it should have been in our cold kitchen, almost silken between my fingers. As I kneaded the dough, memories of better days flooded back. Picnics in Lincoln Park with checkered blankets and lemonade so cold it made your teeth ache. My late husband Thomas's laughter rumbling like distant thunder, my girls playing hopscotch on sun-warmed sidewalks. The dough seemed to pulse beneath my fingers, warm and alive, responding to each press and fold like a living thing. The heat from our temperamental oven turned the kitchen windows foggy, and when I pulled out the bread, the tiny loaf had somehow multiplied, filling our kitchen with the aroma of childhood summers and safety. The crust was golden brown, crackling softly as it cooled, sending wisps of steam into the chilly air. "Mama, it smells like heaven," little Rose exclaimed, her hollow cheeks already gaining color from the steam. The other girls gathered around, Emily, my oldest at 12, who'd grown too serious too soon, Margaret, my dreamer with ink-stained fingers, and sweet Catherine, who still hummed herself to sleep every night despite our hardships. That first bite melted on our tongues like morning sunshine, soft and warm and full of impossible things. For the first time in months, my daughter's laughter echoed off the peeling wallpaper, bright and clear as chapel bells. Even Emily's solemn face cracked into a smile as crumbs caught in her dark curls. The next morning, Mr. O'Malley, our landlord, knocked on our door. His heavy footsteps on the stairs usually sent my heart racing, but today was different. When I opened the door, the perpetual scowl on his ruddy face had softened. His cap was in his hands, and the smell of fresh bread still lingered in the hallway. "Mrs. Carroll," he said, shuffling his feet on our worn welcome mat. "I've been thinking. Times are hard for everyone. Maybe we can work something out about the rent. And perhaps," he paused, looking almost shy. "You might be willing to trade some of that wonderful bread as part of the arrangement." That's when I knew. The cookbook wasn't just paper and ink. It was something more. Something that whispered of comfort and hope and possibilities. I began experimenting with other recipes. A pot of vegetable stew stretched impossibly to feed not just us, but the Martinez family downstairs who'd lost everything in the crash. Steam rose from the pot like a blessing, carrying the scent of rosemary and possibility throughout the building. When I baked sugar cookies that sparkled like fresh snow, Miss Thompson from the department store caught the scent as she passed by. She followed her nose to our door and offered me a job mending fine dresses, work that paid 3 times what I earned from taking in laundry. The cookies crumbled in her mouth as she spoke, and I watched joy light up her tired eyes. Word spread through the neighborhood about my cooking. Women with hollow eyes and empty pantries began appearing at my door, drawn by the perpetual warmth that now radiated from our apartment. I never turned them away. Each recipe required more than just ingredients. They demanded love, hope, and unwavering faith. If my heart wavered, if doubt crept in like winter frost, the magic faded like morning mist. The cookbook taught me its secrets slowly. A dash of cinnamon in the apple pie brought luck. You could smell it in the spicy sweet aroma that filled the kitchen. Rosemary in the bread prompted forgotten memories. One bite, and people would close their eyes, smiling at thoughts of happier days. Honey and tea healed more than sore throats. It mended broken spirits, its golden warmth spreading through the body like liquid sunlight. My girls flourished under the cookbook's gentle magic. Margaret, my second eldest, discovered she could make flowers bloom in window boxes even in December after eating my gardener's biscuits. The scent of lilacs and roses drifted down the street in midwinter, drawing amazed crowds. Catherine, always so quiet, found her voice after sipping mint hot chocolate, her words flowing smooth and sweet as the drink itself. And Tiny Rose started dancing again, her feet as light as spun sugar, moving to music only she could hear. Then came the day the man in the charcoal suit appeared. His shoes were polished to mirrors, his hat tipped at a rakish angle, but his eyes were empty as dried wells. The scent of cold metal and dried leaves followed him up our stairs. "Mrs. Carroll," his voice oozed like cold molasses, "I believe you have something that belongs to me." He pulled out a wallet fat with bills, the leather creaking as he opened it. "Name your price." I looked at the cookbook, its pages now stained with butter and love, bookmarked with my daughter's drawings and pressed flowers from our tiny garden. In its margins, I'd written my own notes. Add extra vanilla to lift spirits. Stir counterclockwise for good fortune. Always sing while kneading bread. The book warmed beneath my touch, as if seeking protection. "It's not for sale," I told him, my voice stronger than I felt. His smile never reached his eyes. "Everything has a price, Mrs. Carroll. Everything." "Not hope," I replied. "Not love." He left the scent of bitter almonds and disappointment in his wake. That night, our dreams were troubled, but I baked peace back into our home with lavender shortbread and chamomile tea. As the years passed, I noticed I needed the cookbook less and less. The magic had seeped into my hands, my heart, my very being. My little laundry service grew into a successful bakery, where every treat came with a side of comfort and courage. The scent of hope and fresh possibilities drifted down the street each morning as I opened the doors. My daughters grew strong and kind, each carrying a bit of magic in their souls. Emily became a teacher, feeding young minds with the same patience I'd learned from the cookbook. Margaret opened a flower shop that bloomed all year round, filling the neighborhood with impossible colors and fragrances. Catherine's voice carried hope through the radio waves, and Rose danced on stages across the country, leaving trails of joy in her wake. When they ask me about the secret of my success, I tell them what the cookbook taught me, that magic isn't in the ingredients or the instructions. It's in the love we stir into every pot, the hope we knead into every loaf, the faith we sprinkle over every life we touch. The cookbook still sits in my kitchen drawer, its magic waiting for the next person who needs it. Sometimes, late at night, I swear I hear it humming lullabies, reminding me that even in the darkest times, hope rises like bread in a warm oven, and love multiplies when you share it. My daughters have children of their own now, and when they visit, we bake together. Their children ask for the special cookies that make wishes come true, or the soup that chases away storms. I smile and tell them the real magic ingredient: love that's stronger than any depression, hope that rises higher than any bread, and faith that's sweeter than any dream. And sometimes, when the kitchen is quiet and the moon hangs like a silver dollar in the sky, I open the cookbook and whisper, "Thank you." The pages ruffle in response, and I smell vanilla and possibility, knowing that magic isn't something you find, it's something you create, one recipe at a time.